Coincidentally, just a few days later, Brad's parents come to the conclusion that it might be a good idea if he went ahead and moved to Morgantown 2 months early to get a head start at WVU. Yep, that turned out to be a great idea. After several unavoidable and unfortunate road rage incidents by negligent pedestrians who are illegally hitchhiking, by the way, on I-79, somehow, against all odds, Brad makes it to Morgantown safely, almost supernaturally, and then does exactly what every other utterly doomed to fail college student does. He heads to Super Cheap for super cheap beer.
Yoink.
And Brad grumbled into the parking lot of the Towers in his 1975 silver Camaro. Brown 1980s stereo speakers roped down to the roof, and the back seat jammed with vinyl albums and warm beer. Moments later, Al Zabrinski pulled up in his rusted 1978 beige Gran Torino, and a keg was tied haphazardly to the roof with rope. The two of them high-fived loudly on the sidewalk outside the dorm, laughing like idiots, milk crates of records stacked around them like trophies. The hopes and dreams of brighter futures hang in the balance for over 26,000 students enrolled at WVU, including Brad. Brad is one of those very rare ones who finished at the very top of his class in high school. Well, maybe not the very top, but way up there for sure. I mean, I am talking like super close. Not the top. Brad is easily in the top 90 percentile. But let's not waste time and split hairs here. They get on the elevator and head to their respective rooms. Al Zabrinski will be deposited on the 6th floor and will head to room 613. And then Brad on the 9th floor and directed to room 915, which is almost directly above Al Zabrinski's room. And then Brad realizes, due to eminent domain laws, that since he arrived at room 915, first ahead of his high school friend and new college roommate Jeff Smith, that Brad has conquered the 9th floor of Tower 3 and is now in total command. Brad's dorm room quickly becomes a deterrent to getting an actual education. Jeff Smith, small, studious, dressed in his crisp blue and gold tracksuit, knocked politely before entering, his arms full of books. As Jeff enters the room, he freezes in his tracks as if he has just stumbled onto a crime scene as he surveys the mayhem around him. Meanwhile, Brad is trying to get some much-needed rest for the busy day of college hijinks that lies ahead of him. Then the phone rings. It's Al Zabrinski. "Hey, put Brad on the phone." Jeff responds, "He can't come to the phone. I think we need an ambulance." Al laughs and says, "What the fuck, Jeff? Man up and just stick your finger down his throat and he will be just fine." Jeff scoffs at the notion and begins to protest when Jeff then says, "Oh snap. Damn, never mind. He's good, I think. Hey, Brad, Al Zabrinsky is on the phone. Hey Al, what it is?" Al says, "Sunnyside is what it is." Brad responds excitedly, "Word to my bitches," or whatever that means. Jeff, full of hope, responsibility and excitement for his future and his desire to get an accounting degree, says to Brad excitedly, "I can't wait for my first accounting class on Monday." Brad, confused and bewildered, responds, "There is class on Monday? This Monday? For real?" As Jeff looks on disapprovingly and mutters something, Brad says, "Well, as long as your education doesn't interfere with my preordained $10,000 a year journey of self-discovery, reflection and a quest to find my true self, we will get along just fine. In other words, don't jam my 4-year-long vacation up. By the way, books creep me the fuck out. I will never be able to sleep knowing there are books in the room. So dude, get those things out of here pronto. And hey, could you grab me a case of Fall City while you are out?" Brad and Al Zabrinsky meet up at the tower's PRT and ride one of its wobbly yellow death traps. Fun fact, the PRT also doubles as a time machine. You always remember getting on it and where you were going, but you never ever remember getting back. Bar hopping from Mutt's to Dr. John's to the Bullpen, downing beers and throwing back shots. The night begins to unravel in the Bullpen as Brad and Al Zabrinsky, who are only trying to make new friends, come to the shared conclusion that dudes from Philly are total douchebags, so they must be pummeled into submission. Then, for no discernible reason whatsoever, Brad and Al Zabrinsky are snatched up by a couple of gorillas from the 1981 WVU Peach Bowl champion defense and thrown out. Brad protested and tried to de-escalate the situation by saying, "Fuck yous, eat a bag of poop, you shit fuck bastard bitches." Those 300-pound players were so lucky Brad and Al Zabrinsky didn't just sweep up the sidewalk with them. So lucky. No biggie. There are only 12 other bars on the street. This was a night when many students lost their way and their innocence in so many ways. But not for Brad and Al Zabrinsky. That ship had sailed by the time they were in 9th grade. Hours later, Brad and Al staggered through Sunnyside. As they made their way back to the yellow wobbly time machine and sat down for the trip back to the towers, they both simultaneously realized that their Philly friends from the Bullpen earlier were in the yellow wobbly time machine also. Which means, yes, that's right, they must be pummeled into submission. Brad, always resourceful, but sometimes not thinking things all the way through, commandeers the yellow wobbly time machine's fire extinguisher and unleashes a blinding white carbon dioxide dry powdered attack, which almost asphyxiates all 4 of them. Unfortunately, Al Zabrinsky ended up being collateral damage due to Brad's inexperience, as this was his first fire extinguisher assault. Fun fact, this wouldn't be his last fire extinguisher assault. The incident. When they finally stumbled back to the towers, covered in beer and sweat, they tried to sneak past the lobby guard, who was slumped over asleep. The hands on the wall clock read 3:18 a.m. As Al stepped off on the 9th floor, Brad shoved him playfully, sending him stumbling face first into the fire hose cabinet across from the elevator. Al Zabrinsky instinctively grabs the brass nozzle and flings it onto the elevator, right as the doors are closing. Brad, in shock by this turn of events, does not realize he never pushed the 9th floor button yet. and the elevator starts heading back down to the lobby. As Brad pushes every button in a futile attempt trying to get the elevator to stop the loud noise of the hose banging off cables and scraping things in the elevator shaft, then boom, the hose detaches from the wall on the 6th floor and the sound reverberates down the elevator shaft, most likely waking the entire dorm. The flood was unstoppable. By the time alarms began blaring, water poured from every window of the first 4 floors like a waterfall. As Brad peers around the lobby, all appears to be clear, so he sprints for the stairwell. As he heads for his 9th floor room, he wonders what atrocities and horrors he will see taking place on the 6th floor. As he sneaks a peek through the 6th floor window, it's official. Brad and Al Zabrinsky are so severely fucked that they will probably both give birth in 9 months. The 6th floor is in such total chaos that it is, well, almost biblical. Al Zabrinsky is hiding in his locked room as an angry mob beats at his door demanding, "Open up, Zabrinsky. We know you are somehow involved in this," as he is desperately trying to get Brad to answer his phone. Brad, back at his room, finally answers. Whispering, Al Zabrinsky says, "What the fuck? Answer your phone." Brad replies, "Fuck you. I just took the elevator ride from hell right back down to the lobby. We are so screwed." "What now? Stay quiet and don't answer your door. We will meet at breakfast as usual and we will act as if." "Got it? Got it." 4 hours later at breakfast, Al Zabrinsky mutters, "Just act natural," so Brad proceeds to soil his pants. They sit down for lunch and study the faces around them, and after a few minutes they both come to the same conclusion that, nah, these clowns don't know shit. Al Zabrinsky then asks, "You know what?" Brad answers, "What it is?" Al Zabrinsky replies enthusiastically, "We should hit Sunnyside tonight." After some reflective thought, Brad responds calmly, "Word to my bitches.